welcome to what will be like a series of videos going over the Legion Astartes Rites of War. And there's two things that we sort of want to achieve through doing this. And that's go over the generic ones that I completely failed and missed doing the first time. And then, now that we've got a bit more experience in the game, Heresy's matured a little bit, we're going to go over the Legion-specific Rites of War again. And yeah, so I'm joined today by Connor. Say hi, Connor.
Hey.
Yeah.
What's up?
Who you will have seen in the... What did we do? We did the Legacies and consoles.
Too many videos now, I think.
Yeah. And then I'm also joined by James.
Yo.
Because James thought we did a terrible job. So we thought we could see if he would do any better. So if you have any criticisms at all of what James says
They'll
today,
make you drive down here instead of dialing on like Connor can.
Yeah.
It took me an hour and a half to drive here, and we're doing it on a fucking webcast.
We are. Yeah, so with that, we will get into the Rites of War, where what we're going to do is start with... It zoomed back out, James zoomed it in before. Right, there we go. So we start with the Recon Company. Now, this is something that in Heresy 1 was really good because you got Shrouded, which was like +2 to your cover save, on everything in the detachment. Your Recons became compulsory troops, Scouts compulsory troops. And it's got hit with a bit of a nerf. Well, the Scouts and Recons haven't, but the Rite of War has. Do you not think?
This is, from the start of 2.0, the best allied detachment in the game.
Oh, James is already going meta. It took who else had 8 minutes?
You see, I don't think the reroll to seize, because it's one dice. What is it?
Let's preface this. So I generally play the new missions that are 4 turns, turn-based scoring.
Yeah.
Where you can win on turn 1, basically.
Well, why do you play if you can win on turn 1? Why do you bother playing them?
Because then it only
That's
takes
a
him
different
20.
Yeah,
That takes him
Why
20
do you play
minutes
this
to do an
game?
event.
That you try to win.
Because he's got a new kid and he wants to get home soon. Like,
Right, so I'll be looking at this from a turn-based scoring, 4-turn perspective.
Right, but
Right, okay.
I think what we need to clarify here as well, and James has made a really good point early doors, are we looking at these Rites of War as an individual Rite of War, as this is the Rite of War you're taking, or as James has just said, being able to like effectively run it as part of an allied detachment? Because I'm looking at it as individual, this is what it is.
well, that's what I was going to. That's what I was thinking of. But I think both have merit, and really,
Yeah,
we don't want to
definitely.
drag it out and force another video just to go over like what's the best allies.
Yeah, so
I
just,
think you've got a point.
if you would use this, what context would you use it in?
Yeah.
I guess is the best way to do it.
To play the game best, yeah. Like it's rather because I don't massively like using like an allied marine detachment, so I'm going to discount the fact that I don't like doing that and agree with you that yeah, it's a great allied detachment.
Right, so if we go over the Rite of War, see how good it is, and then see where it applies.
Where it applies. Yeah. Definitely.
Right, yeah.
Definitely.
Cool.
Definitely.
Yeah, let's do that. So yeah, basically, Seeker squads as non-compulsory troops, Recons and Scouts as compulsory, or don't have support squad, so can be compulsory troops. Your Recons don't have to gain line to be your line in that compulsory, so you don't need to worry about tactical squads in addition.
Because they have it already.
Yeah, exactly. But your Scouts don't gain it, which is a problem with taking Scouts. Just in general, really. A player whose army includes at least one detachment with this Rite of War can reroll any dice they roll to see whether you take first turn or seize the initiative, which is massive, which is what you like it for. And basically, you can't take any models with the heavy detachment or that are deployed on the battlefield. They've got to start off
In that detachment.
Yeah. So the primary detachment, if this is allied, could have as many, I don't know, name heavy unit that you like taking.
Last cannon squads. Tanks.
Yeah. Well, the tanks aren't all heavy, are they?
I don't know. Tanks are rubbish. I don't play them.
I don't know. I have no idea on the rules of them.
Don't,
that's
don't
a
watch
whole-
the tank video that we're about to do. Don't watch the tank video we're about to do if you just heard what James said.
That's the one that we can get our own back, Connor, and be like,
Yeah.
James knows nothing about tanks, but we'll force him to do the video and just disagree
Yeah.
with him all the time.
Yeah.
So right, yeah. All compulsory troops choice in the detachment must be recons or scouts. I mean, why are you taking this right if not because of that? Well, you've got a reason. And may not select fortifications, but that's the most meh sort of downside I've ever heard, I think. Because I think it's only me and Connor in the entire world that takes...
Ever use fortifications?
You use fortifications,
I took them to Armoured event.
for your Ravens?
Did ya?
In Heresy 2?
Not for Ravens. I took an Aegis line. It's a fortification.
Right, okay.
I'm involved. That's what that was. Oh, I took an Aegis line. Pick me.
Yeah, right, so... James, explain to us, and then we won't disagree with you, because I know what you're going to say. Oh, Connor might.
I know. No, I don't disagree.
Why,
I know
why
what
is
he's going
this
to
right
say.
of war good?
I mean, even in Heresy 1.0,
Yeah.
and more so in 2.0, going first and killing your opponent before they can kill you is good. If I can kill their threats with my last cannon squads, tanks, or whatever, whatever else I've got with range, stops them doing the same to me.
Well,
going first is huge in this game because there's no alternate activations.
Yeah, well, one thing that I will say is if you get the first turn, your tanks become exponentially better. Because, well, I'm not worried about reacting if I go first, because I just wipe out everything that...
Also,
We're not talking about tanks.
In the
No,
Stop it.
even when James says, like, oh, I don't play tanks, and tanks are crap,
tanks, if they're
it's
not dead,
better
they're
if you
good.
use this right of war.
But also in the 4-turn games, if you go first, you get strategic advantage, so you can choose night fighting, and your opponent can't do anything about it. So there's benefits to getting that going first roll.
I'm going to throw it out there. Night fighting's are pretty much given majority of the time anyway. Just if someone wants it, it generally happens. But exactly what James is saying. As a right of war just by itself, if you're just running that, meh. No, I've never seen anyone run it. But where you do see it is exactly like James said, where it says an allied detachment, so you're gaining that additional benefit. And I totally agree. If I was going to say, if I want to be really whack with it, but why wouldn't you? Yeah, but I don't disagree, because I am like that as well. But I could well take my Imperial Fist and just be like, oh, I've got a recon attachment as well. I'm going to effectively re-roll to seize, re-roll to go first. And I'm all for that as well.
Yeah, well,
The two times you'll probably see this are if you're at a competitive event as an allied detachment, or if you're at a narrative event as a main detachment.
the trouble is there, though. No, I've not seen anyone take it to get the recons into the list more.
No, it's literally
I've not
for the
seen like,
reroll.
the fluffy like Recon Company style of people taking it.
Because
I've
no
only seen
one does
people
narrative
take it.
events.
Because as soon as you take recons, everyone just goes, oh, a billion sniper rifles, because snipers are now good.
Yeah.
So that just like excludes that from narrative events,
Well,
and then you.
Narrative event's a narrative event. If I go to a narrative event and my narrative is I'm a scout company, you take that.
Yeah.
You don't have to take snipers. You don't have to take snipers.
Yeah.
Like if I run this as an allied detachment and I'm min-maxing, I don't give them snipers. I literally have a Delegatus with no kit and 5 recons with no kit, and that's it. It's like 160
Just to gain
points. Yeah, just for the reroll.
Yeah, fair. So, are we giving it a thumbs up or thumbs down?
How many megas? I want to bring megas back.
Right. I will give it 5 out of 5 megas.
5 out of 5 megas.
Oh,
If you're including it as like allied detachments, because I was approaching it first like just like primary, where I do think it got a nerf from Heresy 1. Allied, 5 out of 5 megas, because it's like, 115 points to get a Delegatus and Recons? 150 points for doubling your chances of going first?
160-ish.
Delegatus is 65, isn't it?
85.
85.
Or
And
80.
or even a scout squad is like 60
So
points.
I'm giving it as a standard, just by itself, company 2 megas, but then for its ability within an allied attachment 5 megas. And I also expect to see a full-on picture of each of our faces for each mega.
Yeah, like a scale. Max, 5 max faces for 5 max.
I might
yeah,
have
5
large.
max faces.
Large.
I give it, for a primary detachment, I would only use it in a narrative sense. And a narrative
So then
sense.
you're not thinking about it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'd give it 5 out of 5 narratively if I want to run a scout company. If I want to take it to a competitive event as a primary, I give it a 1 mega. And then as an allied, I'd give it 4 megas.
4?
Yeah, I don't think it's 5.
Right. So he makes the case for the first turn is so strong.
No.
Quite.
But I suppose no. Do you know what? Yeah, I'm agreeing this. I want to see a big X on one of my megas because I tell you what, he's got a good point. 5 megas got to be ultimate top tier, and
What as
and,
in like the classic?
as
You
in-
can't be nothing is 5 megas.
like
5 megas
there's
is
probably
util-
2 or
5
3
megas
things
is
within
Stone
Heresy
Gauntlet.
that. 4 megas. That's 4 megas.
Fine, right, okay. 5 megas
We'll get
is
to
near
that.
unattainable. Right. Anyway, enough Marky Mark talk. So, Angel's Wrath. We come on to any unit in a detachment using the Rite of War eligible to take a Rhino transport can take a Storm Eagle. So start thinking about where this is going to be talked about and going. For any model with the vehicle unit type and both flyer and transport comes in on the first turn, though that doesn't affect Thunderhawks. Specifically. If they're not brought in on turn 1, can reroll. Reserves rolls are made for them turn 2 onwards, but why you wouldn't bring them on turn 1, I don't know. All models with infantry that do not have jump packs must begin in a flyer with transport. If you've got infantry in a jump pack, you've got to start in deep strike. May not include models with a vehicle that's not a flyer. May not select fortifications.
Yeah, so your
Stunned,
jump pack
silent.
troops
You
don't come
totally-
automatically turn 1.
Yeah. They've got to start within deep strike.
So that's where your reserve rolls comes into play.
Fire with the units of type. So if
Yeah,
you've
so
got
you
a
can
flyer,
hold some of them back to come in at the same
Yeah,
time
but-
as your jump packs.
I still think you'd bring them on turn 1 because they're otherwise right. So
Yeah.
So you're saying if you might hold flyers back,
Might hold something
so that when your jump packs come in, you've got something else coming in. Yeah, maybe to like split their interceptor
Just
fire.
trying to think where they would come up.
I just don't see a situation where you wouldn't want your flying transport to come on turn 1, because then if they come on turn 1, you can like move and get out turn 2. Whereas if they don't come in till turn 2, it's turn 3 before your infantry are doing anything.
Yeah.
And I just think it's a big point sink without.
It looks cool on a board that doesn't work within game currently. Put it that way. That's the way I view it. It looks ace on a board. I always said this when back in 1.0, with one of the Blood Angels Rites of War, I thought it'd be really cool to have like lots of flyers come in, all the Blood Angels sort of come out, quite fluffy and so
It's
on.
really warm, Jack.
But realistically, as we all know, flyers are not the greatest in 2.0. You're spending a lot of money getting Storm Eagles and so on and so forth, and everyone takes augury scanners, so everything's intercepting you as soon as you come in. And if you don't do that, then you need to grab a rule book, and that's rich coming from me.
Yeah, like you say, if you've got your enemy's got a couple of augury scanners on heavy units, some of your flyers are going down, even to snapfire.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Like it just doesn't work, does it? Really, in practice, as Connor said, it looks cool, but yeah, I'm going to go with 1 mega.
I'm gonna rock with 2 megas for
You're gonna
Alf,
rock-
just because.
for what reason?
Like, yeah, because it does look cool, and it is cool.
Right.
One of the events in Manchester, I didn't see. I don't think he ran this, but there was a guy that I played that ran all Storm Eagles and stuff.
Emperor's
It looked
Children.
ace. Yeah, it looked ace. So just on that basis, it was a lot of fun to play. It is a bit different because sometimes dealing with the flies is a bit interesting, but
Yeah, but we've got to stick to a consistent thing. So let's do the fluff whack scale. Like fluff, like Angel's Wrath is really cool. Every single book, you get them descending like from the ships in their Storm Eagles, in the drop pods. Everyone comes in, and it's super fluffy for Marines as like a strike force. Like so, it's like four megas on the fluff, but 1 on the whack. I would say. Because to differentiate it out, so we don't have to like combine them.
I think what you've also got to remember, though, from an audience point of view, it's a lot further afield than just our gaming group. And our gaming group, we've all discussed it. We all, as a gaming group, we do this where we immediately try to break what comes out to see what's best and what isn't, and then level ourselves out.
Speak for yourself, Connor.
100%.
I am
You're telling me
insulted.
we don't do that.
Assaulted.
You have hurt me. Yeah.
No,
You're telling me that is not what happens. It gets, and I'm not saying that that's what we use, but it's broken. So we go, yeah, this is really bad. Let's not all be doing this. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's a good thing. But what I mean is so for us immediately, because of the way we play within our group, we're immediately going to have augury scanners on things. My lads cannon squad's going to have an augury scanner. That's not just for intercept or anything else, but for your everyday pickup game, not everyone's going to have anti-air. So
right. I get what you're
I've
saying.
played this. I've played you with this.
What, when I took all the flyers?
Yeah.
No, that was a recon company. So that was the.
So you didn't even
Vanilla.
use this right
That was
away?
the no, because I only have 1 Storm Eagle, and I've got 3 Xiphons and 3 Fire Raptors, is what you're referring to.
Right.
So then that was my fast and heavy in a recon company.
Right.
So
Max,
but even
real
with them all
quickly,
being
just
gunships,
your monster promotional, just so we can get that sponsor in.
So yeah, he's. I think getting flyers into your list if you want to do them. Like flying
just do it
transports
normally.
just don't work as they are
agreed,
because
agreed.
there's too many points invested. They don't
Right.
come
So
on board for
I'm
long
gonna.
enough.
You've gone low. You've gone 2. I reckon this is a 3. It from a whack perspective. So I've got
It's
2.
Storm
So
Eagles like 250.
it's critical mass. It's the same as AV14 stuff. So so I know I said tanks are shit, but if you come up against me with nothing but armor 14, you'll probably win the game. And it's the same. If you
Well,
come up
because
with
it's so
just a load
off-net
of
to you.
flyers, I can snap shoot 2, 3 things at most at them. Snap shooting, so I might not even kill them, even if they're las cannons. Then you just blitz down the las cannons, a bit of return fire maybe kills 1, and then you've got superiority, and I can't kill your stuff.
Right, so, but that's more. I think that it works better in the gunship style, like where I did with the recon company.
Yeah, but so you take 2
did
Storm
quite well.
Eagles as your transports for your compulsory troops and your HQ,
Yeah.
and then gunships and Xiphons.
Who
And,
won that game between me and you?
yeah, because you didn't take this, you took a
You
recon
did.
company.
You did, because all you had to do was kill my stuff on the ground
You don't have anything on
and
the
the
ground. though.
gunships. No, but
don't-
right. So the Storm Eagles come in, the Fraptors and Xiphons come in. You just fire at my Storm Eagles in a scoring game. I now can't win. And
What I
even
would say-
if you don't do that, turn 2 is the first turn you can score.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think the fact that it's coming in turn 1 is a little overlooked in terms of flyers are not that great. But anything, I've always said this with things that any deep striking, anything with flyers and stuff, and the moment you can come in turn 1 makes a massive difference to their ability, which is why I've gone 2, because I don't. You're right. They can just shoot down scoring units. We obviously play hidden transports. If you were smart enough, you might take empty stuff or things that aren't, so you don't know what's scoring. I'm not. That's why it's a 2 for me.
Yeah.
I'll agree with you.
Yeah,
I think I'll drop it down to 2 because of what you said around you can only score turn 2.
Yes.
I mean, I don't use flyers, so I don't know you can't get out of them turn 1. You can't come in and
Suppose
get out, can you?
You can deep strike and just get out.
You can deep strike and get out, but then you're just getting shot up.
It's
and
a
lit
lot of
up
points.
anyway.
Well, it's 250 points to have a 35-point drop pod if you do that. So it's just a worse version of drop pod assault.
Just take a couple of Dreadclaws. I don't know.
I suppose, but
It's not terrible.
Actually, no, you
it's
can't.
not the best. They've got the flyer.
It's
and the
not
transport
a flyer,
sometimes.
so you couldn't do that in this right
It's a
one.
good flyer, isn't it?
Not a normal drop pod for 35 points.
No, Dreadclaw.
No. Dreadclaw is though, I think.
Dreadclaw's a flyer.
Yeah. Like for 115, and you can get like your 10 dudes in it. But it's, I don't know. I don't think flyers are in a good enough position to allow this right. If flyers were themselves just mediocre, I thought, like, because I don't think they're even to the level of mediocre. I think you come in and your opponent goes, oh, I've got a Volkite Culverin squad, excellent, a free shooting phase, here's 50 shots, I'm hitting on 6s and glancing on 6s, but I only need 2 hull points to, like, knock your Xiphon out of the sky, to do a couple of hull points to your Storm Eagle.
You're not going to get me below 2 megas. Because I reckon...
No, it's fine. I'm
this is
just
viable.
justifying why, like, I
don't really I get what you're
off
saying.
that one.
I do get what you're saying. I think it's a 2. Wider scale, I think it's 2 megas for me.
Yeah, like, if the flyers came up, or like the way of intercepting changed to like 18-inch, I think this Rite of War goes up exponentially. It's more a problem with...
I still reckon you could critical mass it, get too much for your opponent to deal with, because you make a rounded army, generally, and masses of flying things that you can only snap.
It'd be irritating.
In a 6-turn game where you score at the end of the game, this is amazing.
Yeah, well, think about... so me and James played a game with this when like we were saying before. He had no anti-air. He had one unit that could shoot over like 12 inches, other than bolters.
I had a Las Cannon squad.
That was the one unit.
And Corax.
Oh no, you had Mordathan as well, so you had a couple of units. Right. And my flyers came in, were killing loads of stuff, but he didn't have the ability, like, do you know, like, it's very hard to have that ability in this sort of league.
You could have won that game. You just didn't.
Or the crowd goes,
anyway, with diversion. With diversion. He's going to kick me out his house in a minute.
Into Skyhunter Phalanx. Skyhunter Squadrons and Proteus Landspeeders as troops choices. So that can be your compulsories as well. Any Skyhunter Squadrons as troops gain the line subtype, so not just the compulsories gain line, but all of them. Models with vehicle unit type included must have flyer, fast, or skimmer. All units in attachment with the Rite of War composed of models with the infantry unit type must be embarked on a flyer transport. A detachment using this Rite of War may not use any dreadnoughts and may not select fortifications.
It can't be an allied detachment either.
Okay.
So, you seen that Simpsons meme where he goes, oh, I want this, and Marge goes, oh, we've got that at home.
Oh, yeah.
This is White Scars at home.
Yeah.
Just play White Scars.
Yeah. Right, okay, I'll go then. I'll go. Obviously, with the slight changes, I would say, to jet bikes, etc., from Heresy 1.0 to 2, for me, this is not that great. Like you said, it's White Scars at home. Not many people are using mass jet bikes or things unless you're a White Scars player anyway, and realistically you're probably just going to be using your own Rite of Wars rather than this. I've never seen it played. I can't see it really ever being played. In a weird sense, for me, it's almost a 1 mega just because there's just no space for it, not because of the actual Rite of War itself. It's got no real use. And again, like
you're changing the mega, what we're grading them on every single time. It's
not changing it. It's not changing it, is it? It's not changing it. I'm saying it's my opinion, Max. Right? And opinions can be wrong, but mine never are. So, it's a 1 mega. It can't even be used as an allied attachment either. So, like you said.
Yeah. No, but the inclusion of this, I think, isn't... It's just because people, like... Some people might want to use a lot of jet bikes.
Those people are wrong.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
No,
wrong. It doesn't have to, obviously, satisfy... I've seen it used twice One, like, both in Heresy 1, to be fair.
Who are
But-
these people? Call them out.
Chris Gent, with
Publicly.
his Dark Angels, when you used to be able to just, like, fly off the board with this. Like, he used it with that. But so,
Was
what
that, is that not the Raven Wing Rite of War? If they're flying off the board, that's the Dark Angel specific.
Oh, is that the Dark
jetbike,
Angel specific one?
That's not this.
It's for these... Either way. Was it the Dark Angel?
Yeah,
one?
this
I
is
thought
Dark
the
Angel
Angels one
specific
got,
Rite of
like,
War that lets you jump
hit
off
and
the
run or
board.
something.
And jump off the board. Because Ben used it.
Right, okay. Well, whatever, like, people... Like, there are some people that want to use a load of jet bikes.
And they have their own Rite of Wars that let them do it better.
And they play White Scars, yeah.
0 megas. No, bad.
I don't think... I'm not arguing it for being a good Rite of War. What I'm saying is that we can't criticise it based on what is just an opinion piece of do people want to use jet bikes. Let's criticise it based on the fact that it's not a very good Rite of War.
No, there's a
it's not
difference
a very good
there.
route.
We can criticise it. Whether we should or not is a different story, but we can criticise
Right,
it.
so... your troops are jet bikes.
Yeah, troops of jet bikes
With
are probably
line.
your speeders.
Cool. Jet bikes aren't the best.
Yeah.
Toughness 4, 2 wounds, 3 plus save.
They're
Are they 2 wounds now, jet bikes still?
Yeah, they're 2 wounds.
Yeah. They was a 2-up save before. With one wound.
Right.
Can't
Yeah,
take
that's
normal tanks.
Yeah. It falls into the flyer trap again, which I'm
Yeah.
going to say that flyers are rubbish.
Infantry units must be embarked on a flyer transport.
Falls into that same trap.
So it's literally just mass jet bikes.
Yeah.
There's no real combat potential.
Yeah.
There's no
Just
real
change
shooting
Legion.
And
There's
you've
your
not
answer.
got those scars right.
Yeah.
The
So
scars.
it's looking at
advanced
it from a
reaction
Rite of
to that.
War instead of like breaking it down.
Yeah.
You can't take long range heavy support choices. You've got jet bikes with multi melters.
Yeah.
You can't take real combat threats.
Yeah.
You probably can't take your Legion specific units.
Right, cool. Right, I'm happy with that rundown because we've actually talked about what's good about it or bad about the Rite of War. So, how many megas?
0.
Connor?
Well, I've just put it as 1 because it's there. So
Well, I
it's
thought
1.
we were starting at
Oh,
one.
if 1's the lowest, then
Well, we
one.
don't. We can do.
Then it's 1.
Connor's changed
No,
it
we
all
can.
the time,
No,
so
we can.
just
We
change
can
it.
go to 0. There's no
I'm gonna
problem with
go to
that.
-1 mega just to be different than everyone else.
You can't. Why are you putting it so low? You're changing the scale, but I'm going to go -1
Well, exactly.
anyway.
If everyone's changing all the time.
I don't. Right. So what
guy.
scale are we using?
1 to 5.
1 mega.
Right. Cool. Now we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
Drop pod assault. So, if you can take a Rhino or a Land Raider, you can take a Dreadclaw or a normal pod, and you've sort of got to. When taking Rite of War, anyone with the Dreadnought type must be given a Dreadclaw or a Dreadnought drop pod. Selected as dedicated transport, so then you've got to deploy in it and all that. All units in the detachment using this Rite of War, selected with a drop pod, Dreadnought drop pod, Dreadclaw, must deploy by means of drop pod assault. And that doesn't have Charybdis on there. Is this been FAQ?
Something in there.
Yeah, a detachment using this Rite of War may not select fortifications. Any model that do not have Legion drop pod, Dreadnought drop pod, Dreadclaw drop pod, or embarked in a Charybdis must be placed in reserve and cannot take any alternative methods of deployment. What the thing is Charybdis doesn't have drop pod assault though.
I think they've FAQ'd that.
Oh, right, so that has been FAQ'd. So basically you're just limited to the drop pods. You can't take flyers, anything like that, it's just drop pods. Now, I like this Rite of War. I think it's fluffy in the same way that not Skyhunter Phalanx, Angel's Wrath is.
Yep.
I think actually done by certain legions, it can be very good. Like
Yep.
we all, I think.
Agree.
I'm gonna let James get in which one we're all thinking of. I think it also has that thing of because everything comes in all at once, and that's gonna be turn 1 in this. It gets round a little bit that problem with Interceptor, where stuff gets picked off individually.
The problem the other thing has where everything comes in turn 1.
Pardon?
Isn't that the opposite of what you said to the one previously for flyers?
No, because the flyers come in turn 1.
But can't score.
Yeah, it's the fact that you guys can't get out unless
Yeah.
they just deep strike.
Right.
And then you've got this split.
So this breaks that
drop.
because your guys can get out and score.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's your entire army is there turn 1. My problem with the other one is that you got like your jetpack troops coming in turn 2.
Yeah, okay.
You've got your flyers that are transports coming in turn 1. You've got your flyers that aren't transports coming in turn 2. So then everything gets picked off a little bit bitty.
For me, this I love this Rite of War. Although I don't really play it, I really like it because this is Space Marines for me. Everything we know about Space Marines is coming in on planets in drop pods, getting out and doing the whole Starship Trooper type thing where they all come in and just start shooting everything and then screaming and whatever else. And that is drop pod assault. And for that reason, it is great. And like you said, with certain legions, it is really scary. But what I like about it now is, like you said, with the way that it works, where you sort of have this 24-inch bubble, not messing around with everything scattering everywhere, it all being all over the place. It's more coordinated.
What's that?
So there's another page with more rules for drop assault.
Oh right, yeah. Sorry. So that for me is, I really like the Rite of War. For me, it's like a 3.5 to 4 megas.
Really?
Yeah,
That low?
Huh?
That low?
Well, yeah, because it's not 5 megas for me. Because like we said, I think for me, for that, it's like there's a couple of Rite of Wars where it's 5 megas.
I think one of the problems is that I'm not.
What are you going to do when you get out of the pods?
Yeah.
Well, let's just assume that we're gonna let people intercept as the infantry get out of pods, because I sort of don't massively want to have them sort of games. If I'm going to a tournament, I'm going to be like, this is what the rule says. As Connor was saying before, let's assume that we're playing
3 intercepts you'll get.
Yeah. Or augury scanners allowing you to do as many as you fucking want. It takes away a bit of that advantage of going first because you're still going to get shot first.
Yeah.
So I think that drops it to add to that 3.54 rather than 5, which if I just started on the board, got into a real good position, shot first, you've done nothing about it as my opponent.
I also think
you can have done.
I also think it comes down to list writing in that as well. So part of the way I view with rating it is certain Rite of Wars, it sort of lays out what your list should be, and then that is how good that is or not. With this, you could do a drop pod assault and just put tactical marines and everything, and it'd be awful. That's what I'm saying. So it then also comes down. It's not an auto win sort of Rite of War, and it's not even I'm going to give you necessarily a really hard game auto Rite of War, but because it comes down to your list writing. So that's why for me it's like 3.5, but. I do love it because I love the way it's just cool, isn't it? It's cool. People who bring drop pod assault.
I know I said that low. I'd only give it a 4 at most. 3. I'd probably go 3.5 to be fair.
Because of that. So so let's let you say what the one that we all think is very good.
Dark Angels.
Right, and So I'm going to say why specifically Dark Angels?
Plasma Flamers.
Right. Let me ask the full question. Let me ask the full question.
Okay.
Right. Why is it Dark Angels, and what could you do in another legion, or even generically, to be as close? Although it might not be as good as Dark Angels, but what makes it that good that you could emulate?
So, Dark Angels, Plasma Flamers.
Yeah.
Drop in. A few intercept reactions maybe, or you don't move so you can't get intercepted. Plasma Flamers can always snap fire. Mm-hmm. All flamers can always snap fire. So you just go D3 shots per guy, breaching 4+. Cool, that's all your infantry dead basically. Couple of dreadnoughts, melters, tanks dead.
Yeah, so and you're using this Rite of War, so you're only getting 4 interrupters squads at most. Well, that's enough to massively tip that balance.
Yeah.
I'm asking it as if I don't know the answer, but
it's 2, maybe 3 Interruptor squads, a couple of dreadnoughts, maybe a Leviathan, Lion in a Dreadclaw or a Charybdis, just because the lighting's baller. Yeah.
So, basically, this is still being centred around some hard-hitting shooting that comes in. It's not like an assault-based army.
Yeah.
Because it needs that alpha strike potential. The dreadnoughts anyone can do, right?
Yeah.
What would you do instead of right, I can't take interemptors. It's got to be something generic. Is there anything that you think in your mind can come closest to that?
No.
Nothing at all.
Auto
Nothing
hits.
at all.
D3, so we'll say 2 hits per guy. Breaching 4 up.
Yeah, like you see, and this is off the top of my head now. Like maybe some tech marines with melter gun dudes, just because you're doubling out anything.
You're gonna miss some of your shots.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking. I don't think it will be as good as that Interemptor army.
No.
I'm just thinking, what could anyone watching?
Mass plasma gun, the support squads.
But it is like support squads that you're thinking, not flamer support squads. I'm going to go out with
Flamer support squads, maybe. Salamanders, flamers, the Dragon's
They're
Breath
allowing
ones.
armor saves though. It just like
Yeah, that's what I mean.
nothing's going to be as good as.
Yeah, that's if everyone could take Interemptors, this should probably be like a 5.
So you think it's a 5 for Dark Angels?
Yeah, it's really hard to beat.
Right. Okay. So this is the one. So right, Recon.
This is the one that keeps me up at night.
Right. Okay. So this is.
If I'm going to a tournament, I'm scared of this list.
Right. Okay. Okay. So let's move on before we wank off over.
You've got your rating on it.
Yeah, mine's.
We're all the
mine's
same, 3.5.
Mine's
3.5.
Yeah.
Told you I was never wrong.
So then,
Radio Assault. Oh,
Pride of the Legion. Right. So we've got basically veteran squads, Cataphracti and Tartarus as the Legion. The standard generic Cataphracti and Tartarus can be troops using this rite of war. Any that are compulsory troops gain line, and Legion specific Terminator squads that are elites become troops. So that's your Deliverers become, because they're elites.
Yeah.
Dominators. Sorry, not Huskarls.
Phoenix Terminators.
Phoenix, yeah.
Your guys? Huskarls?
No, they're HQ.
No, they're trash.
They're terrible, aren't they?
There's another episode.
Fire Drakes?
Yeah, Drakes. Yeah, any of the elite Terminators, I'm sure.
Just staring?
Any of the good elite Terminators, basically.
Yeah, but not Fulmintarus or.
Yeah,
Sea
Full
Stallions.
Terrace are trash anyway, so you're not taking him. Love you, Neil.
So yeah, anyway, they become troops. You may not select an allied detachment. May only select a single heavy support and a single fast attack choice. Allied detachments may not use this rite of war. Oh, I've said that twice, haven't I? Rite of war may not be. Rite of war. This rite of war may not select fortifications, and may not include more non-infantry than you do infantry.
So, downsides, can't have an allied detachment.
So no recon company.
No recon. Can take allied knight household, because it's not an optional knight household, I should say. So you can have a knight and 2 armigers.
Yeah.
Which helps a bit. Because otherwise you're only ever getting 2 scoring units.
Yeah.
So then you get...
Well, unless you take tacticals in your non-compulsory troops.
Yeah, but that kind of takes away the point of Pride of the Legion.
I know,
Yeah.
but like it is what it is.
Yeah.
Now,
Don't like
it's
tacticals anyway.
quite fluffy, maybe.
Yeah.
It's-
Like
it's-
this,
it's
Connor
become
saying
to
before,
run.
I don't even think
drop
it is.
pods are your Space Marine army list.
Yeah.
This is the other one. Mass Terminators, going into a Space Hulk.
We said that.
Yeah, but
like they're
I'm going to say I don't think that is that fluffy. How many books have we got that there's mass
7.
Terminators?
7.
Mass Terminators.
Is that
7.
Istvan, like Istvan 3, Istvan 5.
Yeah, but that's not just the Terminator.
You've got
That's not
Horus
just Terminators,
Rising,
though,
where
is
they
it?
go into the Whisperheads and all the Terminators walk forwards. You've got the Sons of Horus thing in Saturnine So that's 5.
They're not Terminators,
No one
though, are they?
check these because we're making them
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. They're not Terminators.
Yeah, they are. It's the first company going. And you've got the Catchalan Reavers that are doing like backflips off walls and shit. And you've got the...
You mean the
you've
books
got
that
the-
you love because all the Imperial Fists are doing so well? That one, yeah, and it's really easy for them.
Yeah, exactly. They're the ones that are really well written and I love. They're the ones that keep me up at night because I'm just so in love with those books.
Why are the traitors doing so badly?
So,
That's all
so
that
yeah,
WhatsApp
but there are
is, by the
a
way.
number of books that this appears in. Like there are those Terminator companies. Because it is a bit wider in the Heresy. Like the companies are bigger. They've all got attached like Terminators to every company rather than it all being in the first company.
Yeah. I like it. I do like it.
It's not as
preferred
iconic.
it more
I sort
in-
of get what you're saying.
No. Yeah. So I preferred it in 1.0, to be honest. Just because there was more. Just with the way it did, I suppose, in the scoring and so on. Like you said, not everything's necessarily going in line. It's all right. It's okay. I don't know. I've not seen many people use it. I've played it once, I think, with you, and that was just because I wanted to put as many Terminators on the field as possible. I love all Terminator lists. Do you think that's really cool? But it's just all right.
What are you
for
doing
me.
with this that
It's
you
not-
couldn't do without a Rite of War?
You
Get
can,
2 extra scoring troops. You get more Terminators.
What you can do, James, is get your Terminators and Veterans in Zone Metalis on the board for 1 reinforcement point rather than 2.
Don't know how Zone Mortalis works properly, so I'll take.
Well, I'm
your
glad
word
we're
for
playing a game later today. No, but so basically, like I think this is only really. I think this comes into its own in ZM, and only ZM.
it. I think in a standard 3K game, you can't do enough with this to make it amazing because you don't have the points.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
In a
Agree.
massive Chris Vex style game, you could probably do something funky with this, but that's not what I'm used to playing, so I don't know what it'd do.
Well, it doesn't Vex. I think that comes with the caveat that I think Vex Ferrous Star uses Pride because he has his Terminator squad as troops. He has a. Does it not?
No, it doesn't.
Does he
Because you
just
can't
have?
have allied detachment, he's got an allied met detachment.
Oh, he does, doesn't he?
It's definitely not Pride. He's got a Breacher squad and attack squad as his troops. Anyway,
I think he's used Prides with it before, though.
Yeah, he
so
might
maybe
have.
not this iteration, but yeah, it's.
I'd give it a strong one mega.
One.
Nah, I think
I
it's
don't
a
see what
2
you
and
can
a.
do with
It's 2.5 megas because Terminators can be a bit nifty to move. From an Imperial Fist point of view as well, you give them all 3-ups, etc., and things like that. So that's quite fun. But like you said, it's a points thing. And I'm pretty sure. I think even when I used it against you, I never actually took Pride in the end. I think I just didn't take I might have taken Pride. I can't remember, but I ended up just taking. I can't remember, but I think it's 2.5 for me.
It's 2, so you can take Terminators. Although I didn't use it when I wanted to take Terminators.
No, I can't remember. Because I can't remember
I think
what
you
way I
did.
used it round.
You did.
I think
you
I
didn't have
might
any
have.
tacticals or anything.
And you lost that game, didn't you? So
Oh, don't
Yeah,
spoil
I
it.
did. Yeah.
We're saving that game for Connor's birthday for release.
Don't worry, it's going to be well over a year old by then, so it would be completely redundant. But sure.
It won't be redundant, Connor. All of the rules will be fine in it. But oh no, my army would have got a boost because I've had Decurions in there. So what we're saying is anyway, we're getting off track. I think I think this is like a 2, and that mainly comes from single heavy sport, single fast. I think that's such a massive limitation.
what?
Are you going to see why is that in there?
Why does that make it 2? Yeah, that makes it 1, surely.
Because I think if you've got enough Contemptors are elites, I think there's enough things in elites and then with Terminators and Veterans in your troops to be able to fill out an army with it without it being too bad.
So points heavy. It really
It
is.
I
is,
don't think
but
it's
it is,
I
but-
don't think it's amazing, but
Let's just refer it back to the Storm Eagle thing, which we put down as 2, I think, in the end, didn't we? So, is this worse than that? No, I think it's pretty much on par.
I
Fair enough.
personally think it's worse.
Well, you're wrong, James.
No,
but, you know,
and I think as well being like you've no massive experience ZM. I think this is a 5 out of 5 ZM
ZM, sure.
because of that resource point, also the reinforcement point thing.
Yeah, that would make it good. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Right, Underworld Assault. Basically the same as the drop pod one.
basically, who bought loads of termites and then wants to use them.
And has a load
That's
of
what it
leftover
is.
hoplites. So yeah, all units with attachment may take that take a rhino may take a termite. Termites can be selected as fast and heavy supports. All units using this Rite of War that begin playing reserve gain stubborn
On the battlefield.
not
on reserve.
Not in reserve, right? Yeah, gain stubborn until the end of the turn, in which units assigned to subterranean assault are deployed. All infantry units that do not have bulky must begin the battle embarked upon a termite. May not select fortifications. All models selected as part of detachment using this Rite of War that are not termite assault drills embarked or James, summarise this fucking paragraph.
If you're not a termite or a
that
termite,
English
you have to start on the
education
board.
really showing there, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everything that's not a termite or in a termite has to start on the board.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you know what I don't get about this? Why can't you take fortifications? It's like perfect for.
Because you're supposed to be assaulting the fortification.
Yeah, but like surely you're on your battle line and like you could send them out underneath, and it just seems a bit of a weird stipulation for me. Now, this has the downside that he's not coming in all in turn one like drop pod assault is. You can't get round the interceptor as much because there's some massive flaws with this one.
I do think the termites coming in and the way that, because they can be quite nasty when they come in comparison to the drop pods. Obviously, you can start damaging stuff as they come up. So I think that kind of evens itself out in terms of the intercept thing, because they come up and do their damage first, and then you intercept effectively. So from that thing, it's sort of a muchness, a little bit, but the not coming in on turn one is big.
Right. We missed something
Downside.
actually quite huge on the drop pods.
Go on.
Everything within 6 of a pod has to take a pinning test
Yeah.
in night
Yeah.
fighting,
Yeah.
which takes a lot of interceptor off as well.
Can do, yeah.
Yeah, I think that and in this as well, it comes into
I think
it
you
for
take-
certain legions a lot more. So say like
Yeah.
my Iron Warriors never seem to fucking pin anything, even when my entire army's based around pinning. Whereas if you stack something with like Fear or like Night Lords, deep striking, I think
Terrific.
really works because they get like up to -3, including night
You do the
fighting.
pinning before the Night Lords are there, so they don't get the fear.
No, they
From a
deploy
pod
onto the
assault.
board.
The pods come on,
The pods
do the
land,
pinning
then you
test,
do
then
the
the guys
pinning.
come out.
Oh no, I'm just talking
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah.
Like say Night Lord, say
Well,
like
what I mean
a
is,
Raptor squad. Deep
I know I've
strike.
gone back to the pod assault, but when I've played it a couple of times, the unit that always gets pinned is my last cannon squad.
You can't use that as like you can't
It's-
base it off that.
Yeah, I
Surely.
can. Yeah, of course I can. That's why I was scared of it.
Like I'm
Right.
specific. My lads cannon squad specifically are cowards, are based on random chance every game.
You need to start stacking things around your lads and squad. That's what you need to be doing. So everything lands further than 6
Yeah,
inches
just
away.
take some solar auxiliary and just bubble them.
Yeah, true, and then they can get plasma flamed. Right. Sorry, back onto this one.
Yeah, so I think the not coming in turn one is quite a big thing, but I do think the damage that the drills can put out sort of counteracts the whole thing with the drop pods in terms of the interceptor. But effectively
bit.
coming in turn 2 onwards.
Like it's AP4 for the damage that's done, so I don't think it does enough damage to actually
Yeah, I agree on that.
mitigate it that much. And I just never like things where your army split for multiple turns.
Well, I agree with
So
that.
in terms of like, I play it quite a bit. Like, 'cause I just like fancy playing some, like, today I fancy doing some reserves or a flanking assault. But it never really works because you need that. You don't want a turn, be it a quarter, like you're going to say, or a sixth of the game, where you've got 1,500 points compared to your opponent's 3k.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I think if it had a turn 1, like auto come in, it becomes as good as drop pod assault. Possibly better because you're not so limited on what's coming in. Go on, James. Why is it not?
It's not better. But yeah, if
I
it
think
had a
so.
turn
It's on
1,
par.
it would be better than it is now.
I think it'd be better than it is now, yeah. But because drop pod assault is so harsh in what you can take, it's got to be in one of those 4 pods. Can't be anything else, whereas this doesn't have that stipulation.
What would you want to take that isn't in one of those 4 types of pods?
I don't know.
Exactly. Right.
Well, you've been bitching so much about the Melos rules that you can't fit your Furies in. Maybe I'd want to take some Furies.
No, because there's better Rite of Wars for Raven Guard.
But if you've got to choose between Subterranean Assault and Drop Pod Assault...
Yeah, but I don't. I've got a plethora of other ones to pick from.
But that's not been the question. We're comparing Drop
No,
Pod
I'm
Assault
saying
and Subterranean
this would
Assault.
not be better than the Drop Assault one.
Right, okay.
Anyway, well, it's still good. It's still good. I'm going to give it a 1 mega, but it's still good.
This scale is all over the place.
I don't know the point of reference.
We should have established
Yeah.
like 3 is like not using a Rite of War from now on.
Right, so 3 is it's cool, but you wouldn't use it.
3 is like it's a valid just option. Like so if 3 is no Rite of War,
Yeah.
a 3 wouldn't make your army worse. It would keep it the same. It's just a different option. It's like a side move.
Yeah, three's in the
lateral
middle,
move.
isn't it?
Yeah, 3's like a
back to
lateral
the-
move.
Two for
Yeah,
me
so
is like I
based
can
on
see
that
people
pride, I'm
using
still
it.
giving a 1 because there's too many downsides.
Because it makes
to
it worse. Yeah,
it makes
exactly.
it worse. This one,
I can hear the audience screaming tier list, tier list, tier list.
it makes it worse. Makes your army worse.
Makes it worse.
Yeah.
So then it's like either a 2 or a 1. Because it's not a lateral move. It's
No, makes your army worse.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Connor,
I agree.
Yeah, pretty much 1.5 just to be awkward. So you have to put half of a face in on the details.
Right. Okay.
Connor for reals.
So Spearhead, Armoured Spearhead. Now,
5 megas for you, innit, Max?
What's that?
5 megas, innit? Tanks.
Well, all we can say is that it's at least better than Fist's Pride of the Legion.
Yeah. With evidence.
So,
Don't ruin it.
So whatever
It's
you
my
rate
birthday.
this affects Pride of the Legion. So if you rate this higher than 1, Pride of the Legion has to be 1.
right, so let's go through it. So, all units in detachment must basically have a dedicated transport. And that's a Rhino or a Legion Land Raider Proteus, if it's 10 models or less. Predator squadrons are troops but don't gain line. Sakaran squadrons are elites. A single Legion Sakaran squadron or Predator squadron composed of a single model can be your Warlord with Master of the Legion, so it's sort of a weird... You get a Master of the Legion to select this,
Yeah.
but then your tank can be the Master of the Legion. It gains a 5-up invuln, BS +1, but can't take a command squad. All units in the detachment must begin embarked, and if they're not embarked on their first turn on the battlefield, get destroyed and removed as casualties. But that was FAQ'd.
Was that FAQ'd?
That was FAQ'd because that was the most horrendous downside. Because if you went second, got knocked out your transport, you were just dead when you started your first turn. It's crazy. You can't take fortifications. Okay. May not include immobile units, essentially, movement characteristic of nothing. May only be selected as a primary detachment, but doesn't limit you. You can have allies yourself, essentially. Now, I think this falls under your thing of, if you take a lot of something, it's actually quite good. Like, even vehicles, which I don't think are the best in moderation, it's actually not... I've always been surprised at actually how well it's done when I've taken Armoured Spearhead. Because I've always taken it to be like a bit of a like, lol, tanks are rubbish, use this, and I'd be like,
The
oh.
the units, I think the big thing is like what you said, the units that you are taking in terms of output are strong. Like tanks from an output point of view are relatively strong in terms of their strength. They're doubling things out, things like that. They've either got armor banes and they're wrecking other things. The biggest issue with tanks, like you said, is the fact that they are also can be quite squishy, so they're relatively easy to take down. I think just from our game as an example was you doubling my things out, and I just couldn't churn through your stuff quick enough. Like, and bear in mind, at the same time, user errors definitely, but I just couldn't kill enough. And one of the things is as well, as a perfect example, because of the rules with like vehicles and so on, a lot of my stuff was assaulty in that list. I couldn't use your units to bounce off of because they're vehicles, so I couldn't consolidate closer to other things, and you just go, "I'll drive away," and then just shoot you again. So I do think it's not awful, but it's definitely not great. That makes sense.
So, what I was saying before about if you take enough of something, that it overwhelms them. I guess the context of that is Armour 14, Land Raiders, hard to shift. So a bolter can't shift them, attack guy can't shift them. Same with Storm Eagles.
Yeah.
Or Flyers.
You don't think so on the...
Tax can shift these.
They can by like assaulting and punching in the rear. Or like firing in the rear, but that comes off less. But crack grenades like you just punch them anyway, they go down. Like I've not ever found someone needed to use crack grenades on my Predators. They literally just tear them apart with the
My biggest issue with this is if you take a squadron of something like a Predator, a las cannon squad will kill all three, or two and half of the other one.
Yeah,
and then you can't return fire. So my issue with this is you lose so many you lose your return fire reactions.
Yeah. You do.
So my turn. I shoot you with las cannons, kill half.
We're in a whole new world now.
I know, but we need to talk about it in context of why this isn't amazing. No, and it's to do with reactions.
I'm not going to say it's like 5 out of 5 amazing.
No,
I think it's
reactions make this worse.
What, them being in the game? You mean?
Yeah, reactions being in the game make this worse.
Yes, just because of limitations on tanks.
Yeah.
I think the Decurion goes a long way to solve that.
Not far enough.
30
points you can shoot a las cannon.
I think this is a side grade. I think this is a 3 out of 5 side grade.
I
put it as a 2. I've got it as a 2 because I wouldn't. I put it as a 2 because, like I said, from an output side of things, it can be a nightmare. Can be, you know, if you've got first turn. Yeah, all right, you might kill my las cannon squad, and I might kill whatever shoots at me. But now I don't have a las cannon squad, and everything else is going to start blasting away at things. So yeah, but I don't, like James said, the reverse is if I go first, I'm gonna kill one thing that I want dead with my las cannon squad, and you can't do anything about it, and then I can kill something else.
You can with the Decurion. So at 30 points, my turret reacts with, say, a Magna Melter. And that's...
kill a guy.
You kill...
Well, no, it can
two
kill...
guys.
What is it, 9 guys? It's 3 shots or something per Magna Melter?
So you have to pay a 30-point premium per tank.
Yeah, I don't think it's brilliant, but I don't think it's just...
I don't think it's the end of the world.
They've not got no reactions now.
I don't think it's the end of the world.
They have got turret-based reactions.
Magna Melter's short range as well, but...
And the other thing
Decurions make it better, but I agree with Connor, not enough to make it a 3 in my book.
Right.
Yeah, it's a 2 because, like I said, you're right in that sense, but then at the same time, you've either got to pay that premium on every single unit, or I go, that's going to shoot back at me, so I'll make sure I kill that first. And then when you shoot at me with that, I'll just kill you anyway. Yeah. So because I'm going to die.
Yeah. So las cannon squad fire, unless you're taking like 3 las cannon squads, las cannon squad fires at tanks return fire.
Yeah, but are you saying you're taking that Decurion on every single tank in your list?
No, you have to take it on one tank in each squadron.
And that tank can fire?
No. The unit that can make this reaction. So the Decurion declares it. Right, so
we've
carry on
checked
from
it,
there.
and the wording is each model in the unit can shoot with a battle weapon.
Yeah, and I think it's got to be a turret as well.
Right.
So it's whatever is on your turret. Predator autocannon, not going to be great, which is why I used it.
Magna Belters would be...
Which ignore armour, like, and get
good
around
after
the
turn
DS.
1, not as good on turn 1. But, yeah. It's better. I still think this isn't a side grade. I still think this is a 2, even with the Jacurians.
Yeah, it's really some of, like, in the terms of, like, last cannon squad just shoots another unit, I do think you have to take one of those Decurions on every single unit from now on. If you can take one, you take one for 30 points, you get the ability to react. And other, like, Volkite squads can't hurt them from the front unless it's Iron Warriors. Like Iron Warrior Volkite. Can't hurt a Predator. Like, if you just angle all of your Predators at the heavy squad, like the Volkites, because las cannons are going to go through you anyway, so you just sacrifice to those las cannons. You angle all towards the ones that are going to be able to just shoot you.
I may be looking at this from a tinted lens, because I look at this from my Raven Guard and go, I don't care. I'm going to kill all your tanks. You're not going to.
Yeah, but we're not approaching this from like your army.
Yeah, but that's why I'm saying I'm
yeah.
caveating this. I'm still not putting it as a 3. Nothing you can say will put this as a 3. But
we don't have to.
It is better. It is better with the Jacurians, definitely.
Yeah, I think we just have to justify why.
I agree. Like I said, it's still a 2 for me because even with the return fire, they're still pretty squishy. Like you've said, from a Raven Guard point of view, you're putting melt bombs into stuff. From a fist point of view, looking at the board with Stone Gauntlet putting melt bombs and whatever else into stuff and hopefully wrecking things. But the big thing about it is that the actual fire output that you do get from tanks is, although not what we're used to, it can be pretty fun. And one of the things I've realised, for example, is looking at the Melos lists as a quick side segue, I suppose, where we're looking at tanks. And I'm quite excited to be putting in Vindicators with like brutal 3 and whatever. And okay, the AP's not great, but I'm going to make people roll lots of dice. And if you fail one wound, that's it, you're done. And I think, although we all were quite shocked with that change in the AP with tanks, some of the ways that they've done it with the strength and the brutal and stuff does level it a little bit, but they do need to look at how strong in terms of survivability are. And I think we discussed it before, I wouldn't even have a problem with a slight points increase with tanks with a more survivability. So as in, you're not just making, a slight increase, but they're a lot harder to kill. And that way you wouldn't see as many on the board, be overwhelming, but at the same time,
let them
be there.
react.
Yeah,
that's
we look this up, didn't
yeah.
we? Like, how long does it take for a fucking tank to swivel its turret?
Compared to a guy,
to a guy like getting into a good position, sighting a gun, like reloading said gun when you've last
tanks go much faster than a guy.
Yeah, so why can't my tank react? Yeah,
yeah,
they just got the double nerf, I think.
Yeah, that's
like they got the points increase and the actual nerf.
Yeah.
So yeah, like we don't like, as I said, we don't have to agree on any of the
No.
It's just like I go 3 megas, you guys go 2. Rites of War, Bretheren Orion. Bretheren Orion. So you basically get Castellax as non-compulsory troops, Vorax as non-compulsory fast attack. Though, can anyone name a thing that requires compulsory fast attack? No. So and Domitar non-compulsory elites.
Not in a standard force orc.
No, and I don't think there's any.
Well, you can't take this in another force orc because the Rite of War is what changes it.
And a single Thanatar, no more than 1 model, can be taken as a non-compulsory heavy support. They really covered their arse on this one. Any Tech Marine
Future-proof.
Can take a Cortex controller. A detachment using this Rite of War may not have more units that include 1 or more models with the automata type than the total number of units it includes that do not have the automata type. Basically, more infantry than you have automata units. At least 1 model with a Cortex controller must be included in the detachment for every 3 models with the automata unit type. So basically, spam Tech Marines if you take units of automata. No models or units in the detachment may be given the Paragon of Metal special rule. That's fine. And you've got to take Forge Lord. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think this one is terrible. If you want to take Automata, you need those Magos Domata. I still don't think they're great. I'm not going to make an argument that like Automata are great, but if you were even going to get them halfway to decent, you need Cybernetica Magos that can make you react. It's the same as tanks, except you're choosing not to have reactions.
The good thing about this is Phalanx, which are good. Can you even take Phalanx?
No,
Does it say Phalanx?
no,
This is trash. No. Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, no,
Well,
terrible.
it's in taking a Forge Lord.
You get Phalanx
You can
anyway.
take Phalanx.
Yeah, but you get that normally.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with this round.
Yeah. One.
Yeah, I'd give it a one.
One mega. Move on.
I'm a bit disappointed that I set the scale starting at 1 because then I can't give this a 0. But
We can always give one Rite of War a 0 as an outlier.
Right, so all of us have. So
Yeah.
what was your 0? Have you given?
Oh, I've not got a 0 yet.
Right. Well, this is my 0. This is my 0. Fury of the Ancients.
5. Move on.
Yeah. Do we need to cover this, Connor? Have you got anything that you think you need to say?
No, mate. Chill it
I mean,
off.
to be fair,
Actually, it's probably not a 5
playing
anymore,
against this.
really.
No, playing against this, I am so happy when people bring this against me.
But this is again you.
Yeah, me
specifically
personally,
as Raven, you're Raven.
as Raven Guard, who has made a list to beat this, which also beats other stuff.
Well,
I love this. This is my please play this
James-
against me, please.
James is just like, here's a list I made earlier.
Da-da, I win.
Here's a list
Yeah.
I made in like July 2022.
Here's a list when me and Chris first played our first game of this. We sat down and figured out how to beat it.
Yeah, no, but taking that away, like taking your
Yeah,
specific list.
if you
away-
had a standard list and came up against this,
Yeah.
and not even mass dreadnoughts, the best version of this is what Greaves did, Benji, which is some dreadnoughts and other good stuff.
Yeah. It just like so happens
5.
that your dreadnoughts are your line.
Yeah,
Just so happens.
5s, Jesus.
Yeah. It's 'cause I think we've got to think of this as like us taking Fury rather than us playing against Fury.
Against standard all-comers list, Jesus, this is horrible.
Yeah. So that's
Like, it went...
yeah.
But James,
so
you
I'm
can't seize. It's got such big downsides.
I'm gonna
they went from
say
1.0.
4.5.
For that.
I'm gonna say 4.5 just because, like you said, as a group we've kind of figured out how to deal with it and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
but
as a
going
group
into
perspective,
pickup
I'd give
game-
it a 2.
You say as
In our play group, this is a 2. This
Well,
is a
yeah, I
massive
agree,
down.
but that's
This
why
is
I'm
worse
saying
than a
4.5
list.
because that's why I'm saying 4.5.
I don't know whether it is now. So it maybe it was last September where we'd all been like, right, everyone's taking Fury. I'm going to do my anti-Fury stuff. But now, who's actually taking Fury? I don't know whether the lists I now regularly take could deal with Fury because no one's taking it, so I'm not worried about it anymore.
Yeah, I'd agree with 3,
So who-
4. If
well,
we're
who
taking
we-
it...
included in this
I'm
paper.
happy to. So I'm going for 4.5 because, like I said, if you're not really set up for it, then
Yeah, it's hard- it's really
going to
hard to
wreck
deal
you.
with.
Yeah,
It's really
well,
hard
It's
to
going
deal with.
to it's going to wreck you. But at the same time, we all take an element in any of our standard lists to deal with dreadnoughts. Maybe not that much, but to deal with dreadnoughts now. So it's a lot more prepared. And what I would say is, so are other people. You know,
Yeah, because you've got to be in any list. You've got to be prepared for at least like 3 dreadnoughts. I would say as a minimum.
So what are the
When
what
you
are the
rock up to a
downsides to
3K
this?
game.
You can't seize. Has to be primary. No Lord of War. So
None
no
of
Primarch.
who's taking a Lord of War anymore.
Yeah,
Seizing
no
is a 1 in
performance,
6 chance
yeah.
after you've already failed that 50-50 chance.
No forts, no one cares.
Single, fast or heavy. That's once you've got a Fury list, no one's really that bothered about that.
Yeah. One fast or heavy that isn't a dreadnought.
Yeah. So you can have
take
Leviathans.
2 Leviathans
Yeah.
and a Las Cannon squad.
and the whatever,
Yeah.
It's just, it's so... From 1.0, where every dreadnought gave up a VP, And Vec took this to an event and lost like 51. Because
Yeah.
all his dreadnoughts died. And now they're not vehicles, they're harder to kill, they don't give up VPs. This is
And they're
so
brutal
good.
free.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is what it is. I don't think we need to...
This is my
He's already dead. Like, he's...
generic list. I think this is the best one.
Out of the
Personally.
generics, yeah, I also agree with that. If you're just the generics, it's the best one, definitely.
Right, and I think on that complete anti-bombshell, because we all knew this was coming.
Here's Fury, it's really good. Take it.
Yeah, hello.
What absolute revelations we have on this cast.
No one on the internet was shocked.
Yeah. And with that, thank you for watching. We're going to do the Legion-specific ones, Loyalist and Traitor, next.
Last one.
So stick around for that. What? You think there's another one?
I don't know.
There's not.
Cool.
Yeah, because there's no arrow. There's no arrow.
Alright, okay.
So yeah, stick around for the Loyalist and Traitor ones that will be coming next week, I suppose. If you liked it, don't forget to do all the YouTube-y stuff. We bang on about this enough.
Click, subscribe, like, follow the Patreon link. See you all later.
In a bit.